All right, hello Internet. If you guys don't know me, my name is Mike Young. I am with aPlantBasedDiet.org, which is a nonprofit. You can go to our website, aPlantBasedDiet.org, see what we do. Check us out on Facebook. And if you're out there, you can communicate with me during this broadcast. It's a Q&A, and also we're going to talk. We have a little topic to talk about, which is gluten versus glyphosate. But if you have any questions, you want to type any questions, you can like, comment on the video, give it a thumbs up, a share, all that kind of stuff. But if you want to ask questions, depending upon where you're watching this right now, you may or may not be able to ask questions. So to be able to ask questions, please go to our YouTube channel, which is VeganVideos. VeganVideos.info. That's what it is. VeganVideos.info. And while you're there, subscribe. But if you look at the live stream on VeganVideos.info, you'll be able to, see what I'm doing right here. It's the same stream as you're watching wherever you're watching it else right now. Could be on my timeline, could be in a group, could be on a page. So just join us there. And if you're out there, say hi, let me know you're out there. It's about 12:20 in the afternoon on the East Coast of the United States right now. And we'll be broadcasting for a little while. Like I said, any kind of questions you have on anything vegan, lifestyle related, food is medicine, environmental, animal protection, any of those things, let me know. We've done some videos recently. If you check our recent live videos, what we did, the first one we did was my story, where I told how I got to be into this lifestyle and how much of a journey it was, because it's a journey and a process for almost everybody that I know. Not to say that you can't go cold turkey, because some people do, but not many people can do that. But and cold turkey is a really, really bad analogy for talking we're talking vegan, right? So forget that. So that's something I gotta work on. I've noticed recently is all these not analogy, but just sayings, euphemisms, whatever. So many of them are not vegan. It's unbelievable. I could do just a whole video on that. Let's say beating a dead horse. Okay, there's no way. If you think about how that euphemism was derived, that's a vegan expression. You should never say that. Kill two birds with one stone. Let's see, that's another one. That's not gonna be a vegan. Right? You got to come up with other equivalents to those that are like vegan versions. So if you have any, let me know. Okay. And also, if you're out there, let me know where you're watching from, where you're watching us. And remember, if you're in a group, I'm not gonna be able to see your comment. But go over to VeganVideos.info. Watch the live stream on our YouTube channel, and then type in where you're watching it from, any questions you have, that kind of thing. Let's see, what can I tell you about today? Oh, I'm still wearing my shirt, right? Here, let's take a look at it. Southwest Florida Veg Fest, our flagship annual event. It happens in February in Southwest Florida, which is a really, really nice time of year to visit Florida. Most places north of there are really, really cold. So you want to make a destination festival to come see us. Free general admission. You just got to pay for your travel, your hotel to get down there. We got all kinds of vegan stuff, plant-based stuff. We even have a lot of certified food there, which is our healthy vegan food. We got that there. And we got speakers from that are national and worldwide names at Southwest Florida Veg Fest. It is one of the best events that I've ever been to. It's I'm the one who's saying this, but I've been to a lot of vegan events, a lot of veg fests. So we tend to have the top speakers that are there. So check out our website, swflvegfest.org, list of speakers. We'll start to add vendors on there. And today we're actually officially opening up vendor registration, vendor applications, okay? Everybody has to apply. We got to make sure that you're going to be only talking about vegan things, selling vegan products and services. Even if you're not a vegan business, it doesn't matter. We don't care what you do in your spare time, all right? In your free time, your time is fine. But when you come to our event, any of our vegan events, all we talk about is the vegan lifestyle. That's all we want to hear about. We don't want to hear that animal farming is okay or anything like that, okay? That can be done in some other place. Actually, you can do it. We can do a Q&A here. If you want to ask me questions about that, we can do that here. But at our events, it's like a big vegan festival. So please, if you can, attend at one of our events. And if you want to find out where all of our events are located, because we have events up and down the East Coast, please go to VeganEvents.info. That's VeganEvents.info, and that'll take you to our aPlantBasedDiet.org Facebook page. calendar. So you'll see our calendar. You get to scroll down, do all that, and see what we're up to, because we got stuff all the way from southern Florida up to New England, and we're adding more every day. All right, so let's get into the topic, which is gluten versus glyphosate, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Well, I don't know how much you know. I'm constantly figuring this out too, so we'll just start with the basics, and we'll go from there. And I also want to say that in this video, I don't think anybody really knows what's going on, and that's the point of making this video, because you hear a lot about gluten-free stuff these days. You hear a lot about Roundup, GMOs, and glyphosate, which is the active ingredient in Roundup. And I don't think anybody has ever said anything for sure, except that I think we can all say that gluten-free foods is a huge trend, right? I mean, you see that everywhere. Stuff that I see even on packages in the store, stuff that never contained gluten ever is listing gluten-free on there, just because it's such a marketing tool these days, for people who are out there in the market. The consumers are asking for it. And then let's talk about Roundup, glyphosate, GMOs. Well, the overview on that kind of stuff is that basically, unless you're eating some food that you know is organic, and even if it's labeled organic, sometimes they'll slip it in there. Okay, so let's talk about what's really going on. Sometimes it's not really organic. Most of the time it is. All right, but make sure it's from a trusted source and it's truly organic. But if it's not organic, you're likely eating something. Well, you're definitely eating something that was covered at some point in pesticides, which are chemicals to kill pests, herbicides that are chemicals to kill weeds. It could be other stuff too. Chemical fertilizers for sure. All that stuff was in your food. And really all the food, like I said, unless it's really organic, fits that definition, which is it's got those chemicals. And now who's the one company that made a huge monopoly recently in non-organic foods? It's Monsanto, and I think that they were sold to Bayer Chemical, and I think they're now Bayer. I think that they phased the Monsanto name out because they had such a bad reputation, kind of like Comcast. I think they did that too. But Monsanto has developed the Roundup, and they've developed glyphosate. I don't know if they actually invented glyphosate, but they've developed it into a product where they genetically engineer crops so that instead of let me move this camera, sorry, it is bothering me over here. It's a little bit out of place. I'll fix it. Okay, hopefully, there we go, that did it. What they've done is they've developed a process where people can save a lot of money in labor costs when they're weeding their fields. And instead of spraying just the weeds with a non-selective herbicide, which will kill everything, they developed a process where you can grow soybeans, corn, whatever else the crop might be. Especially, soybeans and corn are the biggest crops because not only do they feed people, but they feed animals. So if you're eating animal products, you're eating these chemicals and these GMO crops too. But they develop these processes to spray the entire field, including the good crops. It absorbs the chemicals of the Roundup into the plant, and it doesn't kill the beneficial plant, that one that you want, the food. It kills everything else, but then you still eat the food later on, or the animals eat the food or something. And the question is, does that have any negative health benefits, right? I mean, I've always thought that it sounds really messed up to me. If you thought about it and you knew how that process worked, why would you want to eat that kind of food? All right? Why would you want to take that chance? Because that's a chemical that will kill any plant. It's a chemical that you probably couldn't drink directly because it's toxic. I think it says warnings all over the bottle. You don't want anybody to drink that stuff directly. Why would you want to eat it? All right, we'll come back to this in a little while. Let's get back to gluten, because this is gluten versus glyphosate. Well, there are a lot of people, or some people, that actually have celiac disease. This video isn't necessarily to talk about how that develops and ways that could prevent celiac disease, although my gut feeling is that It's likely a lifestyle disease in many cases. I think it probably develops from certain things that people do in their lifestyle, probably food related, maybe other things, but the food, like Dr. Michael Clapper, our consulting physician, says, it's the food. It's the food, okay? Now, exactly how do you prevent or reverse or halt that? I don't know. I can't say. This is another one of these mystery things. This is why we're having this video, because there's a lot that is not really known at this point in time. I think there's a lot that will be known. For instance, we can have another video talking about how food affects you psychologically. There's just not a lot that's known right now. I can give you my theories on it, but we're not going to know right now. But it's good to talk about, because I think we need to start talking about these things. So in terms of gluten, if you have celiac disease, I think the way that it works, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, and if you have celiac disease out there, please type something in, let me know you're out there. But with celiac disease, you really have to completely avoid gluten. And I think you have to avoid any kind of food that comes in contact with gluten. It's best to usually make this in a separate facility, a separate processing plant if they're making the food, a separate kitchen if they're making it at a restaurant, that kind of thing, because you're really hypersensitive to that. And there's all kinds of negative side effects that happen if that gluten gets into your system, if you truly have full-blown celiac disease. Now, but the thing is, there's many different levels to this. It's not just all or nothing. I mean, if you have full-blown celiac disease, that is it. That is the worst level of gluten sensitivity that you can have. It's at the absolute high point. However, that brings up gluten sensitivity, and for a while, actually, I thought I had gluten sensitivity, and there are many people that think they have gluten sensitivities. Now, full-blown celiac disease has to avoid eating any kind of gluten at all. But gluten sensitivities, depending upon where you fall on the spectrum, who knows exactly? Because there's so much, again, that's not known here. And now, one of the things that I want to talk about in this video that's not known is, what does the role of non-organic gluten play in folks with gluten sensitivities? Because my theory, and I think the theory of others that I've talked to as well, is that there is some type of a relationship there between consuming organic versus non-organic food and how that affects people with gluten sensitivity. Because I think that a lot of people who have a gluten sensitivity and do not have full-blown celiac disease actually are probably more affected by the presence of glyphosate in their food than gluten. Okay, because most food in the United States, most food around the world, unless you're in a country that's banned this, has traces of glyphosate in it. And we've talked about this before in some videos. Consumer Reports, the magazine, has started testing foods that are organic versus non-organic, and in every single non-organic food that they have actually found the presence of glyphosate, the chemical, in the food that you're actually eating. So it's like one step away from drinking the stuff out of the bottle. That's big news, because I think that probably the companies involved in this have never wanted those test results to be released. But that is the case. If you have seen this, please let me know. If you want to see it, go Google it. If you're not a subscriber to Consumer Reports, you probably got to subscribe to get some of these articles. I don't know. Some of them they let you have for free, and this may be one if they feel it's really important. So this is something that needs to be considered. Excuse me, and is not being considered currently by most people. Because since we can't say anything for sure in this, because there's such a spectrum, I don't think we should assume that it is gluten that is causing the problem, if glyphosate may actually be the culprit. So that's why I titled this video Gluten versus Glyphosate, because you really got to think about this, especially if you have a sensitivity to gluten. And like I said, I know that if you go onto the internet and you start searching up your symptoms, I try not to use that name of that popular website, but just do an internet search, a nice internet search, you're going to find all kinds of symptoms of gluten sensitivity. And that's why I thought I had a gluten sensitivity. And I will tell you, it was a gluten sensitivity. It was a sensitivity to something that I thought may have been gluten. Because when I realized I may have that, actually at first I thought it was something else. I thought some of the symptoms of gluten sensitivity are way out there. Okay, I'll tell you. Like I will tell you. At one point, tell me. Feel free to tell me your symptoms too, whatever. We're not here to discuss anybody in particular. I'm just telling you at one point, because this doesn't happen anymore. Okay? At one point, I did have like blood in my feces, a little bit. All right, and of course that could be the symptom of many many things. I could have some kind of, I don't know, cancer, or one of my body organs is malfunctioning, or it could be gluten sensitivity, which I kind of narrowed it down, and that's what it was at the time. At least I thought it was. And then I was eating a lot of pasta at that point in time, and that's kind of what I started to deduce what was going on. I was eating a lot of pasta, like literally every day. And was any of this pasta organic? When I look back at it, this is 10, 20 years ago. And I'm 49 years old right now, so I've got a lot of history here. It, at the time, was eating a lot of pasta, and none of it was organic. When I think back at it, none. So I did notice that when I started to cut back on the amount of pasta or gluten I was putting into my system, because pasta was really the thing for me. I was also eating bread at the time, I think, but not like it was pasta. I was really into pasta. That was like one of my staples. And the symptoms started to go away. There's a definite correlation there between getting the gluten out of my system and that symptom going away. And I didn't even consider that it might be organic versus non-organic. I didn't really understand what was going on. I think glyphosate and the GMO crops really only got introduced into the system, if you think about the timeline, I think back in like the early 90s or 1990s, something like that. So they've been around, we're in 2019, they've been around for about 30 years now. And I'm 49 years old, so I lived the first, almost 20 years of my life without being able to get that glyphosate chemical into my system. So the first 20 years of my life were like leading an entirely different lifestyle, because whether you recognize it or not, and I do believe there's an issue with glyphosate, the introduction of glyphosate has changed your lifestyle. If you're eating any of it, it's changed it. So unless you've moved your lifestyle over to an organic lifestyle, your new lifestyle, at least for the past 30 years, if you've been around longer than 30 years, or if you've not, and you've younger than 30, you've only ever had this lifestyle, you can still change the lifestyle. And let's see, somebody commented here. No one. It says, hi sir, Bluetooth runs on 2.4 gigahertz. That is the same frequency as a microwave. Basically, that frequency excites the water molecule. I guess that's how microwave works. Actually, whether or not microwaves affect your health is actually another thing, like gluten and glyphosate. It's not known for sure. It's one of those things, but it's something we should definitely look into. Everyone should look into it. If you don't need a microwave food, I wouldn't do it necessarily. But there is no proof one way or the other, I think, for human health, at least not at this point in time. But there's a lot of questions out there. But let's continue with glyphosate and gluten. So with gluten, I removed it. Didn't remove it. I just really scaled back. My sensitivity to gluten was known, so I got better. Those symptoms disappeared. All right. And I did notice that whenever I brought it back in force, by making a mistake or just having a pasta binge or something like that, it would come back. Okay, or bread, or eat a lot of gluten, it's going to come back. So I recognized the correlation, but whether it was actually gluten or glyphosate, that is what I'm still wondering to this day. I really don't know. And the more time that goes on, the more I'm thinking that it is not the gluten. I think that Something changes when you put when you spray chemicals onto the plants, specifically a powerful one that may or may not cause human health problems, that something changes. It doesn't change the food necessarily. The food looks the same. The food tastes the same, but something changes inside of you when you consume that product, and it's colorless and odorless, so it's like carbon monoxide, right? You would never run a vehicle inside of a closed garage. You would never drive your vehicle into your living room and turn it on, because I'm not say vehicle, internal combustion engine. You would never do that. Electric vehicle will be fine, okay? But there's something that you cannot see or smell. Now, some of the exhaust gases in the car smell, but the thing that kills you, the carbon monoxide, you cannot see or smell. It's kind of like the glyphosate, right? You really got to be aware of this. Somebody has to tell you this. You have to believe them, because if you just decide, I don't believe you, no, well, it's still going to kill you, okay? And people will know about that, and that's why no one runs their engine, any kind of engine, in an enclosed space. It says all over the place warnings about this, because it'll kill you. So with glyphosate, you know, it's done some different things, and I can hear the washing machine spinning, if you're wondering what I'm listening to. I think it changes us, because like any chemical, whether it's a pharmaceutical drug, any type of chemical you use on any kind of application, including paint or something, you know, I mean, anything you put on your body, any kind of skin cream, if it's not organic and it's a chemical, it's going to have a negative side effect. So you really need to exercise a lot of precaution. And your food, even though it doesn't have any warnings on it, if it has just glyphosate in it anyway, you need to treat it like any of these other products that do have warnings. You need to really be concerned about it. Okay, no one says, again, another comment. Thank you for commenting. There are people that are sensitive to wireless, such as myself. Okay. And another family member. Parts of Europe have banned wireless in schools. Okay, when you say wireless, no one. That's an interesting way to spell no one. Knowone. When you say wireless, you're talking about any type of electromagnetic field, any type of high-level frequency. You're talking about 2.4 gigahertz. And how do you know you're sensitive? Actually, that I think is the what brings what you're saying into this video, because I don't think anyone has proven either with this wireless or radiation one way or the other, right? For sure. There's no determination, and there probably won't be, because of the misinformation campaigns that everybody who wants to keep the status quo loves misinformation campaigns. And you don't even know you're reading it most of the time, or half the time anyway. So how do you know? No one. How do you know that you are sensitive? Like, what shows up in you so that you are aware that you have the sensitivity and that something's not right when you're near these ways? Okay, I'm sensitive because I do IT for a living and noticed a pattern. Okay, what pattern did you notice? Because it's all about identifying patterns, right? And that's why I'm making this video here about gluten versus glyphosate, because you need to be aware, and you need to log your behavior. You need to figure out what's going on when you change things. And like I said, when I changed things for me, when I realized I had a gluten sensitivity and I dialed back the gluten, of course my stuff went away, but I wasn't doing organic, like I said. I didn't consider the fact that glyphosate may be playing the role and not the gluten. And whether or not these two things cause the same symptoms, I don't know. Maybe they cause slightly different symptoms. Maybe they are two different things altogether. Maybe they're both bad. Maybe one's good. Maybe one's bad. I don't know, and that's the subject of this video. That's why we're here. That's why we're talking about this. We need to talk about this kind of stuff, because I think the more information we have, the more we'll recognize what's actually going on. And I will also tell you that in recent times, I have moved towards a much more organic lifestyle. And that's something that we support through the nonprofit. Whenever you can, we think that organic lifestyles have benefits, especially if you're sensitive. And when I say sensitive, let's say, for instance, like the shampoo I use to wash my hair. I have changed that years ago, because all those shampoos, if you're just buying one off the shelf, all you care about is it works and it smells good, right? Leaves your hair looking clean. But what about all the chemicals that are in there? Excuse me, I was not considering that. And when I started considering it, I was like, you know what? That's not worth the risk. And I can tell you for a fact that some of the more powerful moisturizers, because I used to have skin that was not, especially in the winter, would really dry out. So I was using moisturizers. Some of the more powerful moisturizers that would really work, which are not too far removed from any of the soaps or the shampoos and all that, they have incredibly powerful chemicals in them. And I could tell you that when I use these things on my skin, they get absorbed in your body. I could feel a change in me, and it wasn't good. I could tell something just wasn't right. And I recognized by watching what I was doing when these things would happen, how that feeling would occur, and if it was happening in relation to when I used this moisturizer, which really worked. I'm telling you, the moisturizer really worked. And then I realized that, yeah, this has got to be doing something to me, inside of me. It's got to be doing, and it's bad. I'm telling you, it was a bad feeling I was getting. So I just stopped. I don't use that stuff anymore, and I got more concerned with, instead of a moisturizer is like a Band-Aid approach, right? Because you've got a problem, and instead of dealing with the source of the problem, which is what's causing the dryness, you're just going to put a Band-Aid on it, or a bandage, whatever it is, and you're going to hopefully not have dry skin anymore because you stuck this chemical on you, which we don't even know the side effects. But I'm telling you, again, for me, this is my own personal experience. Those chemicals in the moisturizers that worked, they worked really well, but they also were doing something to me internally. And I cannot even accurately describe it other than to let you know that I started to become aware of what I was doing. And as soon as I did, and I recognized the fact that me not feeling in this bad way was related to these chemicals, I stopped using them and I found an alternative. And better yet, control the source. If you're having dry skin, it could be because of your diet, actually. If you're eating the standard American diet, most of your foods hardly have any water in them, right? It's a very dry, especially breads and things, and they can contain gluten. But if you're eating a lot of foods that are not conducive to, they don't contain a lot of moisture themselves, you may have problems with your skin. There may be other reasons, because maybe you can't handle living in a really cold climate in the wintertime that produces a lot of heat internally to warm your building. Sorry, I've got something in my eye. And if that's the case, maybe you have to go south for the winter. I found that's also part of my issue. And I cannot stay in artificially warmed up areas in the wintertime because it dramatically reduces the interior humidity of the buildings. I don't know if you know that or not, but that is a likely problem that if you're sensitive to it, it'll affect you. Okay, I want to read what No One says. He did mention to me now how he knew this. He says he does IT for a living, sensitive to the EMFs, the frequencies, the 2.4 gigahertz of Bluetooth. He says, I have odd headaches when it happens. I do deployment of wireless access points. Okay, yeah, you're going to be around this stuff. And near the end of the day, I would have headaches. Next couple days, when I didn't deploy the wireless access points, I didn't have the headache. Okay. When I went to Seattle, my other IT guy had his Wi-Fi in his office blasting, and I had headaches towards the end of the day. I asked him to turn it down. I don't know, you could turn down Wi-Fi, but I'm obviously not into this space that much. I asked him to turn it down and turn off the other Wi-Fi. He mentioned the next day he was able to think more clearly. Okay. I didn't know you could turn down Wi-Fi. Is that something that's available on any kind of wireless router? Because if it is, then I'll try to turn my Wi-Fi down. That's the case. But this is also something I've never studied on myself. All right. I mean, look, I'm just sitting with you right now with my mobile phone, which is not on airplane mode, right next to me. So I'm getting a dose of this stuff. Not to mention the Wi-Fi here in my computer, which is going off to the Wi-Fi in my router to get this stuff broadcast over the internet. This is maybe something I need to take a look into, because, like I said, moisturizers affected me, the chemicals in that. The chemicals in shampoo affected me. The chemicals in deodorants, that's another one. I would have, like most of my life, I would have rashes under my arms. I couldn't figure out why. And I think I realized when I started realizing the moisturizer is a problem, the shampoo is a problem, maybe the deodorant's a problem. You know, and I guess I was afraid because I wanted to make sure it was going to work. But I'll also tell you, when I changed my lifestyle over to all plant-based, all vegan, and all whole food plant-based, really, Any kind of body odors that I really had that were really offensive, they're pretty much all gone. There's nothing to mask either. Okay, so like if you're if you got a lot of body odor, there may be some other lifestyle issue that you should address first before you worry about your deodorant. But don't use those chemicals either. I don't know what they do. Now let me go over here to, and I'm going to lose my picture, so hopefully I'll stay in the middle of the screen to talk about glyphosate. What might be wrong with glyphosate? All right, that is something I would like to discuss, because just somebody come up saying, oh, it's not the gluten, it's the glyphosate, and that stuff's really bad. I mean, that doesn't really mean much, right? All right, I just did a quick internet search, and it says some research suggests that glyphosate may be an endocrine disruptor. It has also been linked to liver disease, birth defects, and reproductive problems in laboratory animals. Okay, they obviously were using animals for testing. We don't really want to support that, but I'm just letting you know what it says. And may kill beneficial gut bacteria. Okay, now gut bacteria. That's another subject for another video. That so much is determines your overall state of health. And gut bacteria is down in your gut, down here, your intestines. All the bacteria, and apparently the more bacteria species you have, the better. And the same is true in your brain. Not just your gut bacteria, but your brain bacteria. All right? And the way you cultivate a good source of bacteria is not opening up your gut or your head and going in there and changing it out. I mean, that's maybe someone will develop that, but it's because of what you put in your mouth, because that goes through your stomach and ends up being distributed all over your body inside. So that is the way. And of course, eating plants, eating organic plants, eating whole plants, as little or minimally processed as possible, is going to be most beneficial to your gut bacteria. But saying glyphosate is going to kill beneficial gut bacteria. So if I just mentioned to you that the more species the better, glyphosate is going to kill them, I guess, like antibiotics. Okay, sometimes you can't avoid antibiotics, right? You just cannot avoid it because your doctor tells you must take them because you've got some serious infection and you don't want to die. Okay, I get that. But you don't need to take glyphosate every single day of your life, at every meal of the day and every snack in between, because if you're not eating organic, you're doing it every single time and you're killing off more and more and more of the beneficial bacteria. That's bad. It may also damage the DNA in human embryonic, placental, and umbilical cord cells. Damage the DNA. So like if you're trying to have a kid and you're eating non-organic food, and we know that the glyphosate, let's make sure I reiterate this. We know that the glyphosate is in the food if it's non-organic, because Consumer Reports has tested organic versus non-organic foods, and the non-organic foods actually have the chemical in the food that you are eating. All right? It may do all these things. So this is really, really bad. Let me go back to where I can see what I'm doing here, so I make sure that I'm still in your computer screen. Okay, there I am. All right, so I've got some messages too. All right, no one, let's see, he's able to think more clearly. Okay, yes, power level can be set at max or low. Okay, on your Wi-Fi. Okay, I'm going to look into that. And maybe we'll do a video just on this too, because this is a really interesting topic. As far as I'm concerned, myself and everyone else, we have a spirit of continual learning. We're always learning. You can always do better. This stuff is a never-ending process, and if this stuff is really, really damaging and hurting people, of course we want to learn as fast as we can. So you stopped using fluoride and turned to charcoal. Okay. Active charcoal by Hello. Got it from Target. Okay, it's a toothpaste, I guess? Now, that's another controversial one. Fluoride, but it's fine. It's good. It's good for this video. I will tell you, I use fluoride. I do. Okay? I was told a long, long time ago by someone who was in the dental field that I said, look, what's the one thing that dental patients can do that will make the biggest difference in their overall dental oral health? Because of course, if you're aware, now this is a truth, your overall oral health is very representative of your overall body health. So if you've got somebody with really, really bad teeth and all kinds of issues with your teeth, you probably have all kinds of other health issues as well. So it's very, very important. So anyway, they told me the most important thing, in their opinion, was that they use a daily fluoride rinse. And this is a rinse that it's kind of like a little mini fluoride treatment at the dentist, right? The idea is to swish it around your mouth and then spit it all, and let it soak in your teeth, just your teeth, nothing else. Try not to get under your tongue, because that's a bad thing. I guess it goes into your bloodstream. But then you spit it all out. And same thing with toothpaste. I guess the problem with toothpaste is that it gets into your bloodstream, right? And then causes brain damage, is what I understand. And maybe that's my problem. But is that what it is? No one? Is that the thing with fluoride, that it causes brain damage? Let me know. But until I hear back from you, let's continue on. All right, so those are the known issues that we just discussed about glyphosate. And get on to VeganVideos.info if you want to ask me some questions. VeganVideos.info, and subscribe while you're there. You can anything you type there, I will see. If you type it in some other place that you're seeing me, that you're viewing me right now live, I may not see it. And of course, if you're watching this and I'm not live, I'm not going to get your question at all. But just, you'll see me. We do a lot of these videos now. It seems like in the middle of the day, Eastern Standard Time anyway. And I will continue to do them as long as you guys are watching them and find them interesting and valuable. All right, so we have not heard back from no one yet. So let's get back. If you're eating food, just food, you're eating glyphosate in the last 30 years. It's only gotten worse. I think that maybe it started in 1990, but it's proliferated and it has become pretty much universal. Like literally, I could say with an incredibly high degree of confidence that any food that you are eating today in 2019 that is not labeled as organic most likely has in it, and when I say food, I'm talking about any kind of plant foods, because this is the direct food. Of course, any kind of chemicals are chemicals. Okay, we already know that. Try not to eat food with chemicals in it. But of course, animal products are bad for you. But animal products, for the most part, they all eat this GMO soy products and corn and all that. So they're going to have the glyphosate in them too in almost every instance. So in almost every instance, if you're not eating organic food, you are eating glyphosate. You're eating something that should never be eaten by humans. You probably are aware there are court cases now in California where they are huge verdicts about causing cancer. Cancer is a disease. We had another video about this. It's an imbalance, truly, is what it is. You know, you go from an alkaline to acidic condition, and you have all kinds of other contributors to it, different types of cancers, and I guess apparently glyphosate causes cancer as well. It wasn't even mentioned. Okay, look, cancer wasn't even mentioned as a word in the possible side effects of what I just read to you through my internet search. But I believe it probably is linked. So this video is really just to raise awareness. If you think that this is some valuable information, please share it with other people. Tag them in the comments, because it's important to know about what you're eating. And what you are eating it becomes you. Your food is either your best friend or your worst enemy. You know, it's either going to bring you up, increase your health, or it's going to cause it to drop down to the point of complete despair. And it all depends on the choices that you make. And this, I believe, is a factor. And that's why I want you to share this if you think it's important. Because I really, yes, I do believe that gluten plays a part in some individuals, like I've been saying in this video, especially if you have full-blown celiac disease. But if you don't, you really owe it to yourself to look into this. And even if you do have celiac disease, by all means, please follow the diet I'm telling you about. I'm not saying it's going to cure your condition. We're just talking about general stuff, no one's specific medical condition. But I think that if you eat a fully organic, fully whole food, plant-based, minimally processed diet and low in fat, you are going to have incredible health benefits if you're not already doing that. Okay, Adele, thank you, Mike. Okay, you're welcome, Del. Thanks for watching. Let's see, no one did. Oh, actually, I've got another comment from someone whose name I cannot pronounce. It says, "Sir, I want to interest about machine learning so it is better in the future." Okay, you may be watching on my digitalnomad.net channel. And yeah, machine learning, we could do a video on machine learning. It's kind of funny. This is just a quick side note, but I do want to say that just very recently, I say even people who work in computers thought, oh, the computers are never taking over anytime soon. But I do believe that, especially people who have driven in my Tesla, seen what that's capable of doing, which is basically like a robot with wheels, and what it's going to be doing, and I tell them about it, I think that people know that machine learning is we're on the cusp of it. It's gonna happen, and it's probably gonna a lot of jobs are gonna be lost to this, just like they are with any type of automation. But that's a subject for another video. So back to Dell. You're welcome, Dell. Dell, what is your thought on all of this? The gluten versus glyphosate. Or you and I can talk about it privately later, but I'm just kind of curious as to what your thoughts are. Feel free to type in the comments what your thoughts are. I don't even know if you have a gluten sensitivity or not, but like I said, if you saw this video earlier, I know I have a gluten sensitivity, but I don't know if it's a glyphosate sensitivity, and that's why, the more time that goes on, I'm thinking it is a glyphosate sensitivity, not a gluten sensitivity. I don't think I have celiac disease. I don't think I ever did. So that's a rare thing. But for me personally, and for us as a nonprofit, we really do want to be advocating an organic or veganic, which is better than organic, whole plant lifestyle. So the closer you are to that, the better. And I really hope this video has done something for you, spark an idea in your mind as to what you're eating and why you're eating, and if you have any health problems that you're not sure about, how all these things may play a role. And you can expand this way beyond glyphosate, because glyphosate is just one chemical that's getting into your body that you probably don't want in there. And it's one way, but it's a big way, because unless you're eating an organic lifestyle, you're eating it every single time you stick something in your mouth, you're probably getting glyphosate. But remember, it's not just that. It's any kind of health exterior products you put in your body, for your hair, your shampoo, moisturizers, deodorants, your laundry detergent. Okay, that's another one. Your laundry detergent is your clothes are touching you all the time. These are things you may not even have thought about. But this is the same type of a process, except that glyphosate, you're actually sticking it into your mouth directly and right into your internal body, whereas the other ones may not be as obvious because they're seeping into your body. Okay, from what I've read, fluoride messes with the pineal gland. Other studies show a lower IQ. Yep, I've heard the lower IQ. The pineal gland, I don't even know what that is. If anybody knows what that is, let me know. I'm gonna internet search that one later. But my biggest concern too, I think you got to balance the whole thing with fluoride. And we can do another video on this, but I do believe that it has benefits for the teeth specifically. I think it's proven. But if you don't put the fluoride just on the teeth so that it soaks into the teeth and strengthens them, then it gets into other systems of your body that suffer from negative consequences from fluoride. Is that right? No one? Do you think that that's an accurate description? Or do you think that fluoride has absolutely no benefits to the teeth whatsoever? That's what I'd like to know, because like I said, it is true. It's just it's a life axiom that the condition of your oral health is representative of the condition of the remainder of your overall health. All right? Because everything's connected in here in your body. Everything's connected. So that's my concern. I don't want to, yes, I want to avoid getting, so that's a tricky one. And maybe we should do another video on that. Yes, I want to avoid getting this chemical into my body to affect my whole body. I just want it to affect the one specific part, the teeth. Now with glyphosate, I don't want that in my body at all whatsoever. There is no known benefit to glyphosate at all, except to make chemical companies money, to make non-organic agricultural companies and farms more money. That is the purpose. It's a labor-saving device. It's a dramatic labor-saving device. But it has no benefit whatsoever to the human body, and that's why this is vastly more important, I believe, than fluoride. Because I do, and you can convince me otherwise. If you can convince me, please throw up a link over there, something that convinces me that fluoride has absolutely no benefit to the teeth. Because I do believe that it does. Okay, no one. Yes, it says there are benefits to the teeth, but I don't agree in tap water. After all fluoride is toxic. Okay, I agree with you. Let's think about that for a second. and let's talk about how that relates to what we're talking about here with glyphosate. If the only benefit of fluoride is to your teeth, why on earth would you want to stick it into a drink that passes by the teeth, doesn't even stay there? It's not like they're saying you're going to gargle with your tap water or something, okay, and then spit it out. If you did that, maybe, okay, right? But if you're going to take it internally like that, yeah, it's probably not good. Although, another thing to think about with fluoride is I do believe it has benefits to the developing teeth that don't touch it, and also to your bones in young children. Okay? Young children. Once you get to a certain point, I think you need to stop that. But I think that there may be some benefits of taking fluoride internally for your bones when you are a younger child. So consider that also. All right. You mentioned all fluoride is toxic. Well, I think that all chemicals and medications are toxic, if you think about it. If you put enough of any chemical or any medication into your body, you will kill yourself, probably, right? And I'm not talking about food, like plant food, what I would consider real food. Although maybe if you OD on broccoli or cabbage, I don't even know what, it may throw your body so out of balance. I mean, actually, you've heard of water intoxication. You can destroy the balance in your internal system by drinking too much water. It actually makes your blood too watery, and you can kill yourself. Okay, so I would say, maybe now that I think about it, almost everything is toxic. Just a question of how toxic is that, and how much of it do you need to throw yourself so out of whack or destroy your body that you're going to die. Because if water can kill you, and I'm saying purified water, I don't agree in drinking tap water. This is not tap water. This is actually distilled water. I would say only take ever distilled water or reverse osmosis that's been properly maintained, from a system that's been properly maintained. And if you're drinking that, even still, the highest form of purification of water can kill you. So, something to consider. And this, I guess the reason why I'm saying this, I'm just thinking out loud, and I'm thinking, well, this is why glyphosate is more important than some other substance that has a positive benefit to you as a human being, to your human body system. Because glyphosate has no known positive benefit to your human body system, only negative side effects. So, and I know nobody explains it like this, okay? Because like, it's kind of weird. Like, this has happened my entire adult life for me, right? Because I'm 49 years old, soon to be 50, and my entire adult life started when in like 1990. I actually got married for the first time. Started up my own household, I think, in 1991. So I've been, basically in my own or household, or one that I was in charge of managing on some level with myself or with others, since 1990. So my entire adult life, I've been affected by this glyphosate. So for instance, I can't comment on what it was like running a household and eating food in 1970s, 1980s. I mean, I was in 1980s, I was a kid, but I also didn't recognize in the 80s that I ever had any of these symptoms of gluten sensitivity or glyphosate sensitivity. But again, this is just food for thought. And like Dr. Clapper says, our consulting physician, it's the food. All right? It's the food. Yes, there's so many things that we can prove right now with the food. That certain types of the food, the wrong food, causes cardiovascular disease and cancer, okay? Which are like the #1 killers. If you want to know which foods cause cancer, check out the live video we did recently. And actually, there's only like 4 that you really got to be worried about. I'll just repeat them here, okay? Because I want to say how preventable this stuff is if you just stop. It's cancer, which is #2, but the overall number of people killed from cancer and heart disease is like way above. Probably the total there is way, way above the total of every other cause of death. So these are so important. Cancer is tobacco smoke, processed red meat, ultraviolet radiation, and alcohol. Those are the things, of course, Does alcohol have any positive benefit? I don't know, maybe. I guess if you are totally, you have severe social anxiety, then maybe it will help you out. Okay, that's about the only thing I can think of, because all the buzz benefits lead you to bad decisions and addiction. But ultraviolet rays, you want to get some vitamin D naturally if you can, up to 15 minutes a day, but just don't let that light touch your skin for more than 15 minutes a day. And of course, don't eat any red meat or any processed red meat. Actually, red meat is another category, which is below that one. But processed meat is the highest category, number one. And then, of course, don't smoke anything, not just tobacco smoke, nothing, not even the legal marijuana. Do it in another way if it's legal. Just don't smoke it. That's my quick speech on that. Hey, glad I don't drink alcohol. Yeah, we did a video on that one, though. Yeah, glad you do too, because that's going to dramatically cut your risk of cancer. And of course, I think breast cancer is the new buzzword these days. I mean, how much of breast cancer is caused by alcohol? We don't know. And I'm sure the alcohol industry is real glad that we may never know. But, for all I know, it could be more than half. And it could be 1%. It could be 99%. I have no idea. But it's a class 1 carcinogen, so don't drink it or don't take it. How did I get on this? I don't even remember. Oh, okay. So those things are known, right? Now glyphosate's not in there. We don't know. We don't know what glyphosate does for cancer, because it probably does cause cancer. It's just not listed in there yet. And it's like some of these other things we're talking about, fluoride, Wi-Fi, which is wireless frequencies being transmitted and received from your mobile phone, your router, cell phone towers, in your car. Actually, I drive a Tesla, right? Here's another thing to consider. If you're worried about that, this is how far-reaching this stuff is. I got these battery packs below me, which are emitting EMFs all the time. I got these motors that are taking the energy and creating them into spinning energy, and I have a tremendous amount of electricity flowing through them. I got Wi-Fi that's connecting me to the cell towers in my car. How do I even get away from that? That's a good question. No one, if you have any ideas, please let me know. That's another subject for another video. My name is pun intended. Sorry for the misspell. Okay, that's fine. Thanks for participating, no one. I think it's a funny name. I think it's a great name. It's a clever name. And you bring up a lot of good ideas, a lot of things that I might want to do videos on in the near future, because these things definitely need to be talked about. But back to the subject of this one, which is gluten versus glyphosate. What can I leave you with? Well, how about whenever you hear gluten, gluten-free, you think of glyphosate? Just connect the two. They both begin with G. They're both about the same number of letters if you put them all together, I think. I would say don't be so sure that you know all you think that you know about gluten. Now I say glyphosate and gluten-free are the same number of letters, not glyphosate and gluten. Don't be so sure you know all you think you know. And, consider the possibility of what's happened to the food system since 1990. Consider that if you have gluten problems and you don't eat almost exclusively organic foods, that you don't really necessarily know what's going on, and you can't rule out, I don't know, what is it, double-blind studies and stuff. You're not creating the correct environment for the proper diagnosis. I think that if glyphosate is a potential cause of your issues, you've got to rule it out. You've got to adopt an organic lifestyle. How about that? If you have gluten sensitivity, consider adopting an organic lifestyle for some time. Let's say a couple of weeks to a month. How about a month? If after a month of an exclusively organic lifestyle, you still have the same symptoms for gluten, then what I'm saying is a bunch of crap, a bunch of bullshit. But I think it's worth you giving it a try. And yeah, of course, organic foods cost more. You don't have the labor-saving device of the chemical. I won't say toxic chemical, because all chemicals are toxic. All things can be toxic, right? You won't have the labor-saving device of the chemical to benefit you economically. But you're going to pay for this one way or the other. If the glyphosate is really harming your body, you are going to pay in suffering, daily, continuous suffering. You're going to pay in higher medical costs. You're going to have to take off work more. You're going to have to drive to the doctor or the hospital and everything else to treat your medical conditions, you are paying. So you got to add up all the hidden costs if you think that organic food is more expensive. If you even think that glyphosate is the potential thing that is creating these symptoms in you. It's eating non-organic food is a lot more expensive than you think if you even believe that that even might be right, especially in you. Forget anybody else. I mean, we're not trying to convert anybody else necessarily. I'm talking to you, the individual that is watching this video. If you feel that there's something that might be wrong, I think give it a try. Give it a month. No glyphosate for a month, and then see what's going on. Okay, you won't believe I experimented with my son by giving him a Snuggie with his, a Shungite with his Legos. I don't know what that is. I guess it's a digital device that uses wireless frequencies. Yeah, he complained every night he had headaches. Went to his class for parent conference, and on the ceiling was a wireless router. He did some research, placed a Shungite. What is it, Shungite? And coincidentally, his headaches went away after I placed the Shungite in his room. Also gave it to my coworkers, and they noticed their headaches went away. Same concept as ferrite beads found on cables. Okay, Shungite, is that a product? I'm guessing it is. Yeah, maybe that's beneficial. I don't know. Maybe this Shungite thing works in my electric car. I don't know. But if these frequencies are really an issue and we don't know, I think the best course of action is going to be, like we've been discussing here with glyphosate, which is eliminating the source of the problem. Because anything else is just a temporary bandage solution. I keep saying Band-Aid. I'm trying not to endorse. They're not paying me any money to give that name. Why does everyone always say Band-Aid? Even if they've never even seen that brand these days, they still say it. And by the way, I'm not filming this. I am recording it. Actually, I'm not even recording it. It's going into the digital. It's going out in the cloud. Somebody's recording it. They're all gonna capture these ones and zeros, but there's no film involved. But people still say they're filming stuff. It's crazy how much followers we are. Those two examples right there, they've got to convince you that almost everyone's just a follower. Almost no one thinks for themselves. If you really thought for yourself, you would never use the expression Band-Aid. Look now I'm talking about myself here too. If you had really thought for yourself, you would never use the expression I'm filming something with my cell phone. Okay, there's no way you can even put film in there, but everybody says this. I've actually stopped saying that about filming. Okay, I'm just saying this as a joke right now. I've recognized that, but obviously I'm saying this about Band-Aid now. Okay, it says Shungite is mostly carbon known as fullerene. So is this something like an element you just place near your body and it absorbs these electromagnetic fields or absorbs these waves, these 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi waves? No one, just let me know about that in the comments if that's what it is, because that would be cool if you could just have something near you that's a natural material that just absorbs. That actually sounds pretty cool if that works. Yes, okay. All right, well, I'm going to look into that. Thanks so much for letting us know. And I've been talking for like an hour, I think, and my voice is gone, and I have a meeting in like less than 15 minutes. So I've got to go. And thanks so much for sticking with me. Share this video, comment, go to VeganVideos.info, subscribe so you have more content like this. Give us tag your friends in here. Go to VeganEvents.info to find out about all our live events that we have up and down the East Coast of the United States. VeganEvents.info, VeganVideos.info, and our certification. I keep forgetting to mention that. Our healthy vegan food certification. It's free. If you're a food vendor or a restaurant, you want to find out more, go to healthyveganfood.info. Healthyveganfood.info. And I will see you guys later. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.